Well guys, the day is finally here. The oven is already preheating because these headlights will be in the oven here in just a second. We're going to be removing the bumper, pulling the headlights out, putting them in the oven, separating them, painting them, putting them back in, sealing them, and reinstalling them into the car. The chrome headlights just gotta go. And another thing we're going to be doing as a bonus in today's episode is installing a Noble front grille. I have a Noble, basically the JDM style front grille that's going to replace this one. I love this grille. I had it in my last WRX. It's going to look like the JDM style grille. It sits back in like the mesh grills do, but it has the JDM style honeycomb kind of look to it. You'll see that here in a minute. But as always, it's just a bunch of 10 millimeters on the top, a couple pop clips around the bottom and the side, and you're all good to go. We're going to pop that off, pull the headlights out, paint them, put the grille in, put the headlights back in, and reinstall everything. Ooh, now when you go to pull this out, just be wary of your turn signals if you still have them in the bumper and your fog lights. But the clown that installed these fog lights into the car never hooked them up. They just put fog lights in. No wiring, no nothing. But we have 6 10mm bolts now. With all those removed, we can just pull this piece out, sit it on the ground, pull the headlight. We're going to have to disconnect it from the harness. And there we go. All right, so we have the oven preheated at 240 degrees. We're going to take the headlight. We're going to disconnect the bulbs, pop those off, and remove the bulbs from the headlight. Now, don't forget about the 2 on the side. You can take this lever and push this down and pull that out. That is our light for the C light. And then down here, we also have just turn and twist and pull that out. That is our side marker light. Typically, this is where I would upgrade my C light and do like a diode dynamic switchback C light or something crazy, but I'm not doing that in this car just yet. So I'll probably honestly remove that bulb because the factory bulb looks terrible. I'd rather just not have it light up at all. And then when you go all around the light, there's going to be a bunch of Phillips head screws holding it together. We'll pull those out also. Now, unfortunately, my oven is kind of small, so I'll probably, I'm only going to be able to fit one headlight at a time in here. But if you got a bigger oven, you can put both in at the same time. It'll go a little bit quicker. Now I'm going to have some lunch. I usually take a quick pit stop at the 10-minute mark and see what we're looking like. If it seems like it's going to come apart at 10 minutes, I will go ahead and pull it apart. Sometimes it will, sometimes it might need a little longer. I'm using a metal pry tool here, but you just go around the whole headlight like that, lift up on all these tabs, and just keep prying away. And I get these tabs on the bottom. I can probably separate this with my own 2 hands. And this was only 10 minutes at 240. So I'm just gonna grab this thing with my bare hands, gonna burn myself for a second, and pull this apart. Careful when you get to the back. Ooh, that's hot. That's really hot. Here is the headlight. We have this one separated and pulled out. It's just 3 Phillips head screws hold this bad boy into the clear housing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off the C light. Now, you could take it out, but it never wants to go back in right after it's removed. So I'm just going to be taping it up and then painting everything else black. But I have a couple ideas. So the first thing that I decided was that I didn't want to paint the entire reflector black. A lot of people will paint this entire thing black, which is a big red flag. I mean, you might fail inspection if they notice that you did that. You might get pulled over if they notice you did that. It's eliminating that side reflector. Now, if it's not there, could potentially get pulled over or whatever. So I always like to try and keep some kind of reflective material there. And so I've thought, well, maybe tint them, maybe, you know, do something custom with it, maybe just leave it alone. But I didn't want that giant orange piece on the side of the headlight, so I decided on this. I used a little bit of tape to mask off a design. And then I even thought about maybe taping off this chrome ring inside of here. You know, just something else to add to the headlight so it's not just all blacked out. Sorry I skipped over all this, but I figured it'd be pretty boring for you guys to watch me do all this taping. It takes forever. But the first one is taped up. You can see I did the inside chrome ring, I did the outer chrome ring, and then I did the sea light. I'm also going to be hitting these with some plastic adhesion promoter to ensure that our paint does stick. But you don't have to go super crazy with these because there's really not going to be anything rubbing against them, hitting them, touching them that's going to cause the paint to flake off. All right, so I have the headlights here ready to rock and roll. We are just going to clean it up with some wax and grease remover. I have some HET. Try not to use microfibers for this kind of stuff because the fibers will sometimes get caught and get in the paint and look like crap. So just be careful. I'm going to use the shop towel. It might not get in there as thoroughly, but I don't really think my hands were too greasy when messing with these, and they've been sealed up for, you know, 5-6 years, however long. I'm using Bulldog. It's in a can. Adhesion promoter will lay this on there. Now they recommend using 1 to 2 coats. I just do 1 light coat over everything. Like I said, this thing is not going to be outside in the elements getting all kinds of crap on it. It's just inside a sealed headlight housing. It's really not a big deal. All right, so our base coat is on. Time for the clear coat. All right, so before I clear coat these, I have to peel up the tape that I put down just on these side markers so I can clear coat over that because I sanded the entire thing. That's gonna look so cool. All right guys, so these are done. I just untaped them. You typically want to do it while the clear coat is still wet, just in case it bridged anywhere and filled a gap between the panel and the tape. But look at this, they are done. Man, they look freaking cool. I'm kind of glad I went with that chrome ring on the inside. I think that added an extra little element in there that I actually really like. Should be able to see that gold flake in the paint, but hopefully you guys can see that. There's a gold flake in there, and it looks freaking cool. All right, so these factory grills are just held in with a couple little push tabs and some Phillips head screws. So all I'm gonna do is go around this thing and just knock out all these screws, and then I can use my fingers to just push the tabs in and pop it right out. It really is that simple. For some reason, my grill was like stuck on there. The one tab was messed up. Now this will come with a badge adapter, and all it does is it goes on here. There's 2 bolts that hold it onto the back, and then you can take your OEM badge off and put it into this new grill. But I'm not a huge fan of the badge anyway. I kind of like the badgeless front end look, so that's what I've been doing all these years, and that's what I'm gonna keep doing. So we just slide this back in here, use the new provided hardware. Now, even though I'm using an impact, I'm doing this very gently because you don't want to strip these out. All right, there's the new Noble JDM Style grill. This is the one I had in my 2020 WRX, and it is my favorite grill on the market. I'm so glad to have it back in this car. I will leave a link to this grill in the description of the video, so make sure to check that out. So I opted, this is the retrofit glue I usually get. This is Morimoto retrofit glue, and all I'm doing is grabbing it and laying it down into the groove. I pulled all of the old glue out, and because this is so thick, I actually stretch it out a little bit because I feel like when you lay it in there all the way, it's so thick you have trouble actually reattaching the lens, and then sometimes I wonder if it doesn't sit and seal properly because you almost have too much glue and it just sits kind of on top of it. So I'm just pushing this down all the way around, just stretching it ever so slightly. And when the other headlight comes out, we're gonna press that back in and reattach all of the screws. All right, our glue is soft. We can pull this bad boy out of here. Ooh, that's hot, that's hot, that's hot, that's hot. And we'll slide it into place. So as much as I would just love to toss these back in the car and be done, I want to clean these up a little bit. You can see there's a bunch of little mini stone chips everywhere. There's a bunch of bug guts and just stuck on crap that isn't coming off when I wipe it. So I'm going to gently wet sand these. I'm not going too crazy. I'm doing a 3000 grit wet sand here. Nothing too crazy. I'm going to take some 3M Step 1 compound and I am going to put that on a pad here and polish this up. Alright, so this pad is slightly softer than the one before, and now we're using some 3M polishing compound. This is Step 2. Just going to dab it around. And the last thing is the 3M Perfect It compound, just a light swirl and scratch remover. We really don't need much of this at all. And I'm just going to hand buff that in there. A little bit cleaner than what we started with. That's all we can do. All right, guys, so the grill is done, the headlights are done. I'm going to pop the headlights back in the car, put the bumper back on, and we'll check it out. All right, guys, you ready? The headlights are done. Look at them. I love how they came out. These things freaking look awesome. I think they really, really look good. I like the little reflector idea that I had. The crazy thing is that reflector still almost looks like it's blacked out with that design there, but as soon as the light hits it, I mean, that thing's gonna light up like a reflector should. Leaving the entire sea light taped up and not taking it off makes the whole sea light stand out. What a lot of people do is they'll use oven cleaner to just strip the chrome off, and there's actually a gloss black underneath the chrome. But when you do that, it strips off all of this material behind the sea light. So you lose all that, and then it's completely blacked out. With this, the sea really stands out. Now, it's technically not a sea light. It's just got that one bulb in there that normally comes out, and I didn't install any aftermarket LED strips or anything in there. It looks great in the daytime, and I took that halogen bulb out of there and out of the reflector, so it's not going to light up at all at nighttime. It's just going to be the projector and the high beam lighting up, so no unwanted weird looking lights. There is that new Noble Grille. Oh man, that looks so good. It really does. I don't care what anybody says. That's one of the best mods you can do to this car, is changing out that front grille. It just looks so much more aggressive, and I don't really care for the front badge, the way it's just boom right there. And I don't know, like, this looks so clean. The bumper's not clean, but the grille is and the headlights are. This looks really, really, really good. I'm super happy with how this came out. What a difference, guys. What a freaking difference a grille and some headlights did to the front of this car. Now we just got to do something about these bezels, and then all of this stuff will just end up swapping to a new bumper eventually, because this bumper is just destroyed. And then whenever I decide what I'm doing with painting the car, if I keep it black, if I paint everything, this stuff is all going to just translate perfectly. It doesn't matter what color this car gets painted, all this stuff will carry over just fine. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. I will leave the link to that Noble Grille in the description, so you can find that if you want to get one for yourself. And if you have any questions about the headlights or the grille, just leave them in the comment section and I'll answer them for you. But I think this made the front end of this car look so much better, so much more aggressive. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and we'll see what's next. I'll talk to you in the next video.